And welcome to the East County Sports Report. I'm Ramon Scott, and I'm joined by Dave Dickens of EastCountySports.com. Dave, thank you for finally getting together with me. I've let you down a little bit the last couple of weeks. I've let these guys down too. A couple of Santana, Sultan greats looking to continue their careers locally. And I guess that could be said for all of us right now, Dave. Randy Smith, Nathan Hughes. Thank you, Dave, for getting our guests tonight.
Absolutely. We were hoping to have a trio. Of course, Mr. Temple being the ringleader of these fantastic athletes. But we'll get them on eventually at another time. But yeah, we're really glad to have you guys on tonight. And I mean, right off the bat, how does it feel to trade your purple in for your green and gold?
Feels good. Exciting.
It's a little different, a little scary, but I'll get used to it.
I mean, he kept the. I guess we wouldn't call it gold; we would call it yellow. But
Yeah.
it definitely is a change. But I mean, you get to stay locally, and I'll start with you, Nathan. I mean, what's the transition? Let's just say compared to Coach Estes, and then starting up with somebody like Mike Jordan.
Coach Jordan expects a lot out of us, and just we're already learning the playbook, and he expects us to be lifting already, and just keeping our bodies in shape. I'm not saying Coach Estes doesn't expect that out of us,
No, no.
but it's a different level.
Well, yeah. I mean, the. I'm sure you've already noticed it. I mean, just watching film. I mean, the speed of the game is it jumps up so much even junior college, even before you hit the junior year, say San Diego State or somewhere like that. It's already the speeds. You got to know your playbook. You need to know your plays. You need to know them well because otherwise you might end up on your back real
Yeah.
quick. And how about you, Randy? How's the transition been with Coach Jordan?
I've only talked to him on like Zooms and stuff. I haven't talked to him in person yet, so we'll see. I'll see more about him like when that happens. But as like what I've seen from him, like we're just he's like sending out just like workouts and stuff to us, like for us to be doing at home and stuff. And then like we had a couple of Zoom calls, and he asked like the players like what they've been doing to like stay in shape and stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we got to kind of stay away from which I got a freshman, soon to be sophomore, and at West Hills, and I know
Let's
that
do
we
it.
want to steer them clear of the console, the game console.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, I know the thumbs are pretty strong at this point, but I'm sure that's what they are concerned with, though, is staying in football shape. And I
Too
think,
many
I
breakdowns.
mean, to battle this pandemic as well. I mean, you got to be at tip top health. I mean, you got a lot more to fight out there than just your opponent. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Well, yeah, and that's why Dave, despite some unfortunate turn this past week, I mean, we want young people to get out there and start exercising their freedoms. And I think that's where we are kind of amiss with some of the things that are going on. And these guys are kind of like a lot of people in life and society. We're just on hold. We're waiting to see if we're going to have a community college football season. So they're doing whatever they can to stay in football shape, to be incoming freshmen to a Grossmont program that's going to have some nice players coming back. And despite our poor record over the last couple of years, like Nathan said, I mean, this is a real situation when you go up on the Mesa, and no matter how well the team is playing, I mean, that's why Coach Jordan is in the position that he's in. They run a tight ship up there with a great coaching staff, and he's got great coaches that stay with him. So, look, we're going to get back to doing some winning at Grossmont. It's just a matter of time, but we know we have the right tools in place with that coaching staff. Guys, how much did it make you guys take a pause, though, when you heard that Southwestern College wasn't going to be playing football, Randy? Did that startle you, worry you, and concern you? And how
Well,
much have been, yeah.
I think because like a lot of the players because they came from there over to Grossmont now because they're not having a season anymore. So I mean, like it's definitely a lot more competition, but I mean, yeah, it's a lot more competition. But it didn't like startle me or nothing. But I don't know.
Yeah. Nathan, more players is more competition. It's going to make for a better program this year. It sucks what happened to the
Yeah.
to Southwestern, but hey, more guys, more competition. You guys haven't really been able to even get out there yet, but you said you've worked out a little bit, maybe seen some guys around. How do you assess the talent? Hopefully, we'll have a season.
Well, just the guys I've been working out with, it's about 10 to 15 of us, and we're looking sharp. It looks like we haven't even stopped from last year. Everyone looks fresh.
That's the thing about really having a strange season like that and Southwestern not participating. As Coach Jordan told me, he said that just makes it ripe for the picking. I mean, as soon as the season starts, I mean, they don't offer them a football program. It's open season for the Grossmont College Griffins, as well as the Mesa Olympians, because they're looking to play as well. So.
Well, they were already getting low. I know the guys know Mesa was already getting loaded up this year. I mean, they were already pretty good last year, and they might have only got better. But I think we're getting some of the guys, right?
That's what I was getting at. I think that this will be the first year in a while that Grossmont's really going to have the depth that they haven't had in a few years, which is really doesn't make sense. I mean, we talk about the great facilities down there, Southwestern. I mean, they do. They have phenomenal facilities. They have a phenomenal field. But then we got to give them Grossmont their due as well. I mean, if you look at how many D1 scholarships that have been given out or earned, I should say, rather, over the years, and some really big schools. Between Mike Jordan and the late Dave Jordan, they have sent a lot of people to some major universities, and they really never just had the facilities. They didn't have the funds available, so they kind of missed out on that end of it. But they still have, and I'm sure you can agree with this, Nathan. They have the fundamentals though to get the job done. And for Grossmont this year, this could probably be the year of the Griffin. And the year that you guys make some noise, when you say.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Dave, Nathan's one of the players that you always rave about. I mean, he can run the ball, catch the ball, kick the ball, tackles, whatever you need. Nate, what are you going to do? What are you going to do on a football field at Grossmont College? Probably be you could choose any of them, but so many guys that you probably get one job. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah. So I've been working out with the wide receivers, given the defense gotta let it go. But yeah, wide receivers, and I'm looking to kick and punt. Hopefully, the current kicker Jack Browning gets a scholarship.
That's in the bag, brother.
He should already be D1. I don't. Yeah.
You remember him really, really well too, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, me and Jack actually we go back to like 5 years old. We used to play soccer together and everything, so we grew up together, and we just split up for high school.
Have you been kicking with him at all right now at all?
Not lately. He's been working out with Nick Novak. I've been talking with Novak, and we're gonna go out soon.
Yeah, no, that's a good guy to follow in his footsteps. I mean, especially if you're going to want to compete for a job. I mean, obviously, Browning's looking great, and it'd be nice to work under him if you were to pursue a future as a kicker. And we know you were pretty solid on your PATs. Randy, you're one of the most prolific receivers in Sultan history. Great, really, and made some great moments, some great plays. Nate says he wants to be a wide receiver. You are a wide receiver, right, my man?
Yes, sir. I hope and I plan to just stay same position. That's what I want to do.
Who's throwing to you right now? What are you doing?
I've been trying to get with Temple like recently, but with all like the COVID stuff that's happening, because he had to stay inside for a little bit while it was going on. But I hope to get out there soon with him. Get thrown.
I might have to loose up the old arm, you know. Of
Yeah.
course, we could always get Grossmont College's favorite mascot, Chase Osborne, to throw you some balls.
Yeah,
that's
Shout out, Chase. Gotcha.
Chase.
I haven't met that guy yet, so.
That
Okay.
is cool. That's who I worked out with a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So
Wanted to tease him.
So you guys for sure. I mean, that's the one thing that you don't. I mean, you can see it, I guess, from a distance, but we really don't truly know what we have as far as the Griffins are concerned as a group yet, because obviously we haven't been able to get out there as often as we'd like. Hopefully, that's going to be lifted a little more sooner or later, or maybe smaller groups at a time and more often. Is that maybe the plan?
We hope.
Yeah.
Like,
just don't know,
smaller
right?
groups, like a couple players, like every hour or something like that. I heard about that somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And then
well,
the 17th, and then the magic date, of course, is July 17th, where we're going to get the official word
Yeah.
if we're going to even have JUCO football. And boy, that would be a shame, you know, to
That would really suck.
Yeah.
you know, I mean, they're already saying with some of the professional sports, and I know you guys saw that they didn't do that for the colleges or the high schools, but I don't know if you saw the mock-up for the mask that they were going to use for
I
the
saw that.
NFL.
Yeah.
That has heat stroke written all over it.
What is
Yeah,
the entire cover, the
How do you even
entire
see?
cover?
Yeah, I don't know how you'd see in that. Like you're trying to catch the ball.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible.
It's just one big mask is what it is, really. I mean, it's unbreathable. It's you'd have guys falling over. I mean, you got to be able to breathe when you're running the ball, you know?
Just doesn't make sense to have it. Yeah.
When we're playing contact sports, I mean, right now, that's why all we can really do at this level, look, at these levels, I don't think there's going to be anything such as, like, we're all going to get tested before a game. It's going to be if you have a temperature. I have a job. I have a full-time job, guys, and every day when I go into work, they just point the little temperature thing at your head. You're under 100 degrees. We move on, and if someone gets sick, then we start to ask people who are around them if they got sick, and that's how contact tracing works. And hopefully, that's going to work, and that's going to save our sports and get me out of this place and get back to doing what I like to do, and that's cover these athletes. And that's. Dave, let's talk about the good times right now with these guys. I mean, last season was so awesome. One of the best, if not the best season in Sultan history. You know,
Only one blemish, and we happen to write a story about him. Sorry, gentlemen, but he had a heck of a game against you guys too, and that's in Logan Schmidt. I mean, your own coach Estes even said it. He said, you know, in that particular game, they had homecoming and they had number 8 just running all over the place. I mean, he was just in every spot at every time. But other than that, that was the only blemish on the season. I mean, like Ramon mentioned, best Sultan team in several years. That's got to really be something to be proud of.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, it would have been nice to win that Monte Vista game, but yeah, it is.
And the champion game and the championship game. That'd be nice too.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that too in a minute. How does it, putting in perspective, the highs of the football season and just, you know, even the way it ended, I'm sure you guys look at it as an incredible experience, an awesome season that you never want to forget. And it was just awesome. Every week was just a new records being set, more wins. And then for everything to come down the way it did with you guys being seniors, can you still look back at 2020? Will you look back at this several years ago, if down the line, and say, man, that football team was awesome? I'm not concerned with what happened through it's not going to be for everybody. A lot of people are bummed, and you guys are too, about the way we graduated and everything like that. But I think that has to take a little bit off it, right? I mean, football season was awson.
Season,
that was what it was all about.
For a little bit.
Yeah, between football season and unemployment checks.
That's a fact.
Nate's already on the state payroll. What? Wait a minute. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, even as Ramon mentioned, I mean, you have a job. He does, or myself, but then you have East County Sports, and without you guys being able to be out there and producing the live entertainment and breaking records, there's not a whole lot for us to write about as far as live sports. I mean, we can come up with a couple of things. I mean, kind of the what if and when game, we can discuss that for a while. Even with some of the professional sports, I mean, what are your thoughts, Randy? I mean, I don't know if you guys are baseball fans, but a 60-game season.
That'd be kind of that sounds like really weird to me, because I think like it's like 162 or something like that. I think that's how much they play, but that's like cut like really really far like low. So I don't know how they're gonna work with that, and then like playoffs and stuff. I feel like I'll just be weird, and I don't think the players will be like as much as into it, because it'll just feel too like off to them. There's only 60 games.
It doesn't matter, right? Because we just want to see everybody get on the field. It makes everything, that makes it easy for you guys too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, that's just smelling a Padres championship right now. 60 games,
Right.
That's all we need.
I knew he was gonna go there. I knew he was going there.
Anything past 60, nah.
I sent a proposal, and Randy knows, we were talking about before the show, I sent a proposal to the baseball players union chief, Tony Clark. Randy's a big fan of Tony. He was one of the best basketball and football players out of the East County. And I said, I proposed a 10-game season. And that may give the Padres a big chance. Hey,
10 games.
Right, because that 7-3, you might be able to go all the way.
Yeah.
Well,
against anyone but the Dodgers.
We'll play them 10 times, beat them.
That's why I had the secondary. I mean, my thought, I would bring to the owners, and I know the players wouldn't be too happy about it, but what about some of those minor leaguers that are making $400 checks, and would honestly probably jump at the chance to get on a baseball diamond professionally and go out there and play those 60 games, have a smile on their face, and play as tough as they possibly could, because they want to make that team. That's just my thought, but I think that that should be a consideration for Major League Baseball. I'm sorry to all the higher paid players. I'm sure they're like, well, what is this guy talking about? But you know what? I think it's a reality. It should be a reality. Those kids want to get out there. I mean, some of them fresh out of high school like yourselves, and hey, you want me to pitch 6 innings? Absolutely. Give me the ball.
Yeah, for sure. They would be really excited to do that. More, yeah, definitely more than like the actual players, but I don't know how they would work that out though.
Shauna's sending a message to you, Dave. You guys are my favorite East County sports reporters. I think she's probably talking to Randy and Nate, actually. the favorites of anybody. There have been some great Santana High School baseball players that have gone on to the major leagues, a couple, especially in the pitching department. I think of Terry Forster and Joe Price.
Mike Cook,
Mr. No-Hitter, Mr. Minor League, which struck out like 3 guys on 9 pitches one time or something like that. Been some good Santana football players too. These guys are 2 of the legends. Best Santana football player of all time. Dave, do you want to quiz these guys on that? I think I know who it is.
We know.
Okay.
I don't know.
let's hear it.
Leon Bender.
Leon Bender.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that.
What a great career he would have had. He had a great career. He would have been even had a greater career had he not died, unfortunately. Man, what a great player he was. So, I want to talk, I'm still kind of want to back to the season because I've told Randy I had a little surprise for him, Dave, and it was the best play of the season that never was. And it was a game-changing play in the championship game. If you change the outcome of this play, the whole championship game might have worked out in the Sultans' favor, at least given them a better chance. Now, it was too bad that we had a tough time protecting Nathan Temple. That I was looking at Len's pick here. Look at that. Len knew Leon very, very well. But that play might have changed the game late in the first half. And I want to show you this play, Dave. I know you've seen it. I know Randy's seen it a gazillion times. Nathan's seen it. Most of our fans have seen it. But I'm going to watch it again because I was in great position with my phone to get it on film. So I'm like, I got to use this. I'm going to send it to Randy. I'm going to send this in direct message to Randy. He has a perfectly clean, crisp video of it. I know he probably has it, but
I did, yeah.
This play, Dave, was called back to holding.
Oh, he caught it! He caught it! He caught it! Take me in! Take me
in! I think that would have put us in would have tied the game, put us in the lead. I think probably Nathan comes in with an extra point, puts us in the lead or something like that. And
and
I think everyone thinks it was holding on that play. We went back and looked at it.
It definitely was.
So that's too bad because it had nothing to do with the play. It's like one of those things like offsides in soccer. Had really nothing to do with the extension of the play. It already cleared out of the pocket and got was able to chuck the Hail Mary. It was our only play. It was the last 6 seconds left in the first half. We would have maybe given Sarah. Remember, we beat the pants off of Sarah in week 2.
Yeah.
We talked about Sarah in the first place before the season even started. We discussed Sarah and that they were going to be one of the tougher opponents on our schedule. Little did we know that we were going to meet them in the playoffs later in a very important game.
We had our eyes on those guys, didn't we?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
they got us for 10 sacks in that game. Nathan, how did that happen? We got a great offensive line.
I don't even know how to start this. It just happened.
We tried to ask you that day, and you're in no mood to talk.
It just happened.
The first couple of drives, they sacked us a lot. The first time we played them too.
Yeah.
But after that, it was. I don't think he got sacked the rest of the game after that. But then it felt like the whole game in the championship, he was just getting sacked every play. It felt way more than 10.
Yeah, I thought it was way more than 10 too.
And Zabrowski ran a lot more in the championship. He was more versatile, it seemed like.
What'd you say?
Zabrowski was a little more
quarterback for
ability in the playoff game. It seemed like he was a little bit more apt to run in the playoff game.
Yeah.
They're definitely ready. They were like well prepared for our game.
Yeah, but we had some big wins. Before that day, we smashed Orange Glen. Everybody thought that maybe the Patriots would match up better with Santana, and we beat Escondido. So a lot of great wins. I'm not worried about that Monarch game. I mean, we talked about. I think we were split on that game that the Monarchs were going to have a chance against those guys. But hey, we beat Mount Miguel. Did a great job containing Jaheim in that game. He still had a nice game, but he didn't really get his load.
It's just never you never know in those league games. I mean, those are your bread and butter. I mean, those are always going to be the toughest opponents. Let's just look at for a second Monte Vista and how Coach Yamamoto set up his season. I mean, he started off with Lincoln, for crying out loud. Okay, he sets himself up with Lincoln, plays one of the best in the county, and plays a couple other tough ones, and then gets ready for league. I mean, he had the perfect blueprint. Honestly, that's just what it really boils down to is he had a good blueprint, played some of the best in the county, and then he got to face another one in league. You know, you guys were one of the best in the county, but they had played somebody of your caliber earlier on in the season. So I think that was the whole reason for it in the first place. I mean, he even thought, people are going to think I'm crazy for playing a team like this early on, but it's going to only prepare us for league. And sure enough, it ended up giving them a crown. Unfortunately for the Sultans, after you guys still, like you said, you had a spectacular season. And the only blemish was they just they had everything going their way that evening. Homecoming, defense was on fire. I mean, I don't think Temple had a chance to breathe back there. You're talking about Sarah, but I want to say Monte Vista's defense was a little tougher. I mean, they had a lot of blitz packages that I recall.
Yeah.
What do you
They're,
think?
they're a lot bigger than us too.
Yeah, and then their offense was. I don't think they passed one time.
They passed.
No, probably
they
not.
only did play action. It was like a couple
I
play
think-
action passes.
And then he ran. I think. I don't think he
Yeah.
threw ever. But yeah, no, that was hard to stop.
They're not and then they're typically, let's just say, the last couple of years, Coach Yamamoto is not really known for a passing team.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the big man there for a couple of years that he'd carry 4 tacklers with him. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Tim
yeah,
Long was, crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then they had Isaiah was the man this year, though. I think they ran a couple of guys in that game. But Randy, how do you think the Sultans are going to look this year with you guys? With all these seniors gone, the cupboard's not bare. I mean, Richter's going to be all CIF, right? And
Yeah,
you still have Jared
Richter Scale.
Forster. He's like a young Randy Smith, in my opinion, right? And Drew's going to be the quarterback, right? D. Lander's still there. Who
But he's
else,
definitely
Randy? Who else is going to be on the team from that? Who are some of the juniors I might be leaving out and coming back? Gumby's back, right?
Yeah, he's really good. I'm trying to think. It's been a while.
I hope you're not saying you guys are leaving the cupboard bare up there. They got some players left.
I know they do.
what's a
Nathan, you got
Bye.
anything? Go ahead.
Yeah. I got a couple on both sides of the ball. So the sophomore last year, watch out for Ethan Wright. He's a junior this year. He's gonna. I don't know. He might break a couple of Randy's records.
Whoa.
Hey, you write these names down, Dave. This is how we got to do our previews this year.
Absolutely.
Before the
I'll mention
season,
them.
the season's
I'll
gonna
mention
come
them.
Fast and furious.
Nick Brace on defense. He's a solid linebacker who gives 110% every play.
Yeah, look, Kevin Myers says he used to play with Gumbiewski's dad. I hope I'm saying
Yeah.
Gumby's name right. That's why we call him Gumby. Golumbewski.
He was our coach freshman year. Big Gumby.
Move my stuff.
Nice.
I know Richter for sure, though.
Oh, yeah.
Who gave him the nickname, the Richter scale? Was that you, Nate?
No. Hey, Richter's actually my neighbor.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You work out with him at all?
Wasn't me.
You seeing him at all right? You seeing him at all right now during the pandemic? Working out at all?
Just when I drive by, I know he's working out. I mean, it's not like I've seen him work out, but you just know he's working out.
He's always working.
Yeah.
Dave, Shauna has been watching. She's one of our best fans out there as far as East County sports. Says, and you got to clue her in on this because it makes me feel like I'm not doing my job. She says, does East County sports cover junior college football, Dave? That's what Shauna has asked. What do you say to that?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I had a very large piece recently. Most opinionated I've probably been in a long time, but it just really it really bothered me the way that it has gone down, and waiting on this date whether or not JUCO football is going to be played. So again, I was pretty opinionated in my piece, but I think I hit the nail on the head, and I think that I mean I'm trying to get a hold of politicians, for crying out loud, and let them know that I think that the kids are safe out there, and I think that they are genuinely taking away potential scholarships away from these kids that are attending these junior colleges, and I don't think it's right at all.
What do you guys say to this situation, guys, now that we're all a part of it, but this is affecting you guys, the class of 2020? First of all, how did graduation go, man?
Drive
For
through.
the drive-ins.
It was cool. It was actually pretty cool.
It wasn't bad.
Do you think that in the future, like, they'll probably still have graduation ceremonies in the stadium? Of course they will, but maybe they'll have some, more like community parades and things like that. It seemed to be so everybody really liked doing it, right?
Yeah,
It was cool.
it seemed like everyone had fun. I know I did.
And we've seen the school have their own little version of it. So I don't know, but this whole situation, Dave wrote you guys this past week exactly what he stated about how everything is delaying the process. Unfortunately, it's affecting everybody. We're all in a waiting pattern, but you guys pretty much were set on this, right? I mean, you guys are very good players. Grossmont's in need of players, especially players from the East County and things like that. I guess it's hopefully it is gonna work out, but it's hopefully gonna work out. And is it this is the way you wanted it, right, guys? I mean, not the pandemic, but I mean, look, we're going to Grossmont College trying to get on a football field. Nothing's guaranteed, even if there wasn't a pandemic. We still got to go out there and compete. You just need the opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How is it waiting day to day? Is it almost day to day? Do you wait for contact from the school? Do you kind of follow the news a little bit, see what sports are doing, and see what if there's any guidelines? How does the young person handle it? I'm really into it. What is the governor saying? I got to read the paper. What do you guys? How do you follow it?
I don't want to hear that if there's not I would be pretty bummed if I heard the news that we're not gonna have a season, because that's really what I want. I want to play football as long as I can, and it's brings a lot of joy to my life and stuff. So I would be pretty bummed if we don't have one, because I gotta wait a whole another year. So yeah.
I just stay up with it on Twitter. Just read all the Chase Osborne comments on everything.
The thing is it's the bridge to everything. I mean, if you can't be on the field, I mean, it's like another unemployment check, right, Nate? I mean, in reality, except for you're not getting anything.
I heard Uncle Donnie might have another stimulus package for us. So.
I'm good with that.
Dave, I went back to work and I've made. I got swamped. I mean, so anxious to get back into work at a casino, and people are so anxious. I've actually made more money in the last 3 months. I probably did 9 months last year, because we were the only casino open. So everybody's coming to our casino. I talk about social distancing, guys. I sit there 5 feet away from 10 people for all day long. It's probably not the best COVID situation. Dave, you're supposed to, when I talk about COVID,
I was just going to do that right now. I was actually going to ask what we already touched on Major League Baseball. How about basketball? I mean, the NBA. I mean, do we go straight to the playoffs? Do we give them a couple of weeks to warm up? Are they good? I mean, they're all a lot of these teams had so many injured players, but now they're 100%. So I mean, really, let's start the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I saw Klay Thompson's back with the Warriors. It's a game changer, considering how bad the Warriors were doing this year.
Garbage.
you guys are following it.
Yeah, but they're not gonna be in the playoffs though. So
Yeah,
I'm
they
pretty sure
wouldn't
they
be
already
in it
said the
anyway.
teams that are gonna be in the playoffs.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
like
They
22.
cut off. Yeah. They cut off teams that were like already out of contention.
Yeah.
I want to mention, Dave, just to wrap up some East County stuff this week. I know we got the guys here, but you want to mention
Helix.
Alonzo Richardson signing with the Cleveland Indians, and kind of relates to what you talk about. He signed a free agent contract for not very much money in the terms of how the contracts usually are signed. But what I think Alonzo is probably a hitter. I know he could do both, but I don't.
He was the shortstop, right? And then he
Shortstop
Yeah.
and pitcher, yeah.
Yep.
I know
Okay.
you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And,
can swing a mean stick. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and he was ticketed for
And then
San Diego State.
We played them a lot
What's
in baseball.
Not, we didn't play him this year.
The year before.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, we
You
didn't.
know,
You guys
the year
didn't get.
before.
You didn't even
Yeah,
get
actually-
through any. What did you guys play? I think.
7.
What did we get through for?
Played 7 or 8 games.
Yeah.
3 of them were against Cathedral.
We were 7-1, so
Yeah. we didn't even care. We didn't even care about the base. We don't talk about how hot the Sultans' baseball start was. We don't, these guys are football legends, but
It's fun 8 games or whatever.
right. I mean, that really I should have threw that in with a question asking you how, after football season. I just think it's football season was so great, but and the Sultans are known for getting on on a roll at the right time, especially the last couple of years. So
Well, look
I
at
don't
that
know,
legendary
talk-
coaching staff that they got there. I mean,
for sure. Best coaches.
those guys are. I mean, you combine all the what is there like 50 plus years of baseball experience?
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
more.
Yeah, probably more.
Yeah.
Randy, you guys. So okay, give me this. You guys. I mean, you guys are football players, but the baseball team was looking good, and who are you the most bummed for on the baseball team that the season ended early?
Probably.
Oh,
Like
Randy.
what player?
Yeah. Randy, man.
Yeah. Like you guys. I mean, I'm not sweating it. I mean, you guys are great football players. Okay, I even blew it off and forgot to ask you about baseball. But there's probably some player that that sucked for them because they were a baseball player.
Well, my friend Aiden, he's like really obsessed with baseball, and I felt
Rasmus.
bad for him. No, Donovan.
Donovan.
But he-
Aiden
he's
Donovan.
playing-
Okay. Rasmus
He's
was
playing
your
college though, but and then I'm bummed for the juniors and stuff because
Yeah.
they literally got a year taken off from them, and especially the ones that are trying to like get scholarships and stuff. Like all them, yeah. I'm bummed for everybody.
And it was
Yeah.
such a good. I want to say. Oh, who did I see them against last? And they played a phenomenal game too.
You went to a couple of ball games.
I went. I want to say was. I want to say was it Coronado. All I know
They
is
said they played the Dons 3 times.
Yeah.
Well,
played the
no, it
Dons.
wasn't. It wasn't Cathedral. They played them. It was one of their last games, actually.
Madison?
Yes, it was Madison. Yeah, they had beaten Madison. Oh man, that was and talk about a great game. That one there too was definitely.
That was the last game, I think, right?
I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
7-1.
Our East Lake game got canceled.
And after I saw that game too, and went to that game, covered the game, and then I don't get any more baseball. That was actually my last game too. Yeah, it was a really good game, and I was like, wow, this team's really gonna do something. I mean, after watching them, Helix and Granite, I mean, pretty typical seasons.
Oh, yeah, it was going to be an awesome season. I don't think you could have, I guess Helix was going to be favored, but look what happened. Santana's had their share of success against the Highlanders. Just when you least expect it, they would come up and, get a big sweep on them or series.
And the
of wins
Eagles
against
too.
them.
They look what they did to the Eagles a couple years ago too.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year. So.
Yeah, for sure. All right, brother. It's been so good catching up with you, and we're just going to hope for the best. And unless you got some more questions, Dave, or anything else you want to talk about locally, because I might not get together with you for another week or two if I screw up again.
Oh.
Randy. Randy keeps it.
We're gonna
charging
we're gonna
my
mount a
phone
camera
at
for Randy
5%.
first. No, just kidding.
My phone's at 5%, so it's like.
Okay, well, that's a
There
good
we
time
go.
to-
Well, that's a good time then. Yeah, I just wish you guys the best luck. We'll keep watching that magic number 17 of July, and hopefully the green and yellow get to take the field, and we get to play. And not only 10 games, let's get into the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dave, I'll just add real quick. I'm saying wrap it up, and I got something else, but it does seem like there is more of a little bit of a groundswell. Most people were kind of objecting to moving the season at all into 2021, maybe starting as late as January 2021, and most people kind of cast that to the side. And look, NFL, they're obviously focused on their start. NFL's a sport that might be able to survive. Playing a full season in empty stadiums if you're still in that point. And it's tough to say what will happen to sports on a community level. But there does seem to be a little bit more of a groundswell among regional sports, such as, a high school football season or a community college football season that could move the start of the season, into a January or something like that. I didn't put any credit into that at first, but now I'm starting to come around to it.
After the
especially
Helix,
after
yeah.
Well, yeah. Again, I'm not worried about one. Of course, I'm concerned about anybody who gets sick, and I'm concerned especially about anybody who gets sick that might pass along the disease to a vulnerable person who can't afford to get sick. But like we know, more younger people are getting it. That's going to make the survival rates go much, much higher because younger people will
Absolutely.
survive a bout with COVID. I mean, even people who do survive bouts with COVID, kind of say, hey, you know what? It still damages your lungs. You might, lose some critical years or something just by being affected. But I'm starting to come around to it now that, if we can't start football until
We're gonna have football.
January,
We're gonna have football.
right.
And no COVID.
You've made a lot of predictions on these shows. Some of them pretty good, some of them not so good.
Well, I think this one, I just think that we had an isolated incident, and I do feel for the individual, and we hope that he gets better. But I absolutely think that these young men should be allowed, and I think they will be allowed to take the field again, and showcase their talents, and get themselves into colleges, whether they want to continue playing football or if they want to, a career in engineering or whatever is, whatever floats your boat. I mean, I think that it's a bridge either way, but you guys need to get on the field because the scouts need to see you. I mean, sending in a tape and all that just it doesn't work for the scouts anymore. They need to see you live in person. So I think it's important, and I think it is going to happen.
Yeah, well, look at Randy Smith. I mean, hey, these guys want to continue their careers on a community college level and maybe go to a school after that. But it seems like guys like Smith just want to play some football because he's bummed.
Yeah.
Well, and let's look before I forget. We just did a deal with San Diego State, getting the stadium taken care of now, and getting that built. So, I mean, we got to get this going. I mean, there's millions of dollars being spent on making a stadium for the Aztecs.
Yeah.
Now, Dave, make no mistake. I'll just wrap this up with a little bit of news on that. I mean, Helix did shut down their practices for the time being. Hopefully, they'll return to practice very soon. Other schools have been out, in practices, and these guys talked about not being able to take the field yet. Some high schools have resumed practice. I'm not sure if it's all of them, but schools such as Valhalla and El Capitan have certainly taken the field, and I believe they're allowed to work in groups of 10 at the time. That's not an official thing. It's just something I might have read it on Twitter. Nathan, you might help me on that. But
that's what I. That's how I
Chase?
saw it
yeah,
on Twitter.
so we're able to get out there and do some things, just to keep in shape and get ready, because it's already June 23rd, and before you know it, it's going to be time to start practicing. I mean, we're obviously going to miss any semblance of a 7-on-7 season or things like that. We just want to start the season on time, Dave, and get Randy Smith, legendary Santana receiver, incredible year last year. I think 13, maybe 17 touchdowns. Correct me if I'm
17.
wrong. And
13
yeah,
games for.
yeah, what a career he had. And Nathan Hughes, one of Dave's favorite players, because that's
All
the
around.
type of player Dave likes. He likes those all-around players that can do it all. Throwback. Dave's a throwback. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot, Dave. Anything
Thank you for
before we
having
go?
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate it, guys. We'll have to do it again soon. Hopefully, you'll play a few games and won a few games by this time next month. You guys will maybe play a game or so and have some practices and bring home a win. And with that, I'm just gonna say for Ramon Scott, I'm Dave Dickens, and I just want to thank these two former Sultans, Randy Smith and Nathan Hughes, for coming on. Good night.
For having us. Thanks,
Thanks, guys. Take it easy.